What's up, R6 Mint YouTube enjoyers, where you get your ball knowledge? Welcome back to the channel. And we're talking about Chalet defense. I know you guys have been absolutely enjoying the defense guides. I love making them as well. So look, without further ado, let's jump into one of all of our favorite maps. We're done with labs, we're done with lair. Let's jump into Chalet. All right, we're on Chalet Master, and this is... it's at the top of the list. Everyone always chooses this first. Honestly, I do think this is the strongest bomb site. And, again, just like every other video, this plays a little bit different in pro than it does in ranked. So let me explain. So first off, we're going to start on the Solarium side because I think it's a little bit easier. So the Solarium side, it depends if you have a mirror up or not, but we're going to assume because in ranked mirror is always banned. If that's the case, you want to always reinforce this wall. If you're running a mirror... The strongest mirror to put is actually right here on the closet wall. You reinforce this wall and you put the mirror, and it's called the anti-soul mirror. Then you wouldn't want to reinforce this wall because you don't want to let them swing in. So you'd make feet holes, head holes, whatever, like all the way across. But again, for this video's purposes, we're going to assume that there is no mirror. So you're going to reinforce the soul wall. This just gives you somewhere to play off of because this actually is a playable spot. Big window is really not that scary. It's pretty easy to kill that guy, but you're also safe behind the bomb. You give yourself another wall here, and this protects you against the bathroom window. So again, you can kind of sit and contest the soul window, the soul walk up, and you're safe against the big windows. So head holes to be able to contest. This wall also lets you fall back into the closet and rotate, right? Everything is protected from the Solarium window repel. So you're all good there. You give yourself another wall in closet, so you want to reinforce both of these. And this is going to, again, this position, it's going to fortify this whole position. If they're pushing the other way, it now lets you contest piano windows. If they want to jump in, you can hold like a pretty passive angle here. And you're, again, safe from the bathroom windows. You don't have to worry about a guy wall banging you through closet. You can sit here and hold the windows. So, again, this is a really good spot if you haven't been playing it already. Moving on, we have... obviously the rotate. You want it on this left side of closet if you're inside master, obviously, or inside the closet. And the reason being is that you can't get seen from the piano window as you rotate in and out. Same thing with the Solarium window. If it was on the right side, you would be exposing yourself to a whole bunch of angles that you do not want. So keep it on the left. There's also this really good angle on the K9 door. So if they were to go K9 and maybe you have a guy playing in your box area and he says, hey, can someone watch my door? This position, if nothing's happening soul side, could easily just come over here and yeah, I got your K9. Let's see what else. We have this rotate. You put it in the far left side. Again, the main reason is because of K9 and also for the for office wall. If that wall does get opened up, you can see I have it opened up, and I'll explain that in a second. One of those things inevitably do open up. You want it to be on this side so you are a little bit safer going in. You do have to be careful of the piano window, but that's a-okay. Head holes, just so you can be able to contest the breach from far back. Maybe you got an Rooney DMR or something like that, and you know this is a DMR meta. You could sit back here and just get some free kills. All right, now we'll talk about the office or the actual box setup here, because this is probably the newest thing to a majority of you, and you're probably like, Mint, what the heck are you cooking here? This is not how we set it up in ranked. So first off, the main piece that I do recommend is these two walls. Unless you're playing like a tube cade setup and you want to fully reinforce it off and play an actual bunker, then sure, you can fully reinforce these two off. But if you're not running cade and tube and you're not really running wall denial, then I suggest doing it this way. This is what the pros do, and the reason being is because we always have a mez player. So there's a player wasting time on the library side in that position called mez. And if you don't know what that spot is, go and check out my power spots video that I dropped a couple weeks ago, where I talked pretty in-depth detail on how to play that position. But anyway, with this wall open, you can now actively support your mez player. So in Chalet, it's kind of similar to border. There's a lot of crossfires going on, and I can explain those more in the top-down view when we get to that in a second. But from this position, if they were to jump in library and push your mez player, you have all those angles from way back here, and you're nice and safe. You give yourself a wall here so you're protected from the K9 window. You have all those, and you have the mez stairs, because a lot of people like to walk in lobby and just walk up the stairs at your mez player. And if you shut this off, he loses almost all of his help. So Look, if you're playing solo play, I get it. You probably don't have that position over there. Go ahead and reinforce this off is what I'm recommending. But if you're playing with a duo or 3 people, I recommend trying this because most rank pushes do end up pushing from the library side. And if you guys can master this crossfire, you will win every single master defense. Again, there's a reason the pros are doing it. So again, that angle. And then this side of the wall, the most important wall you want to reinforce is this side of the office wall. And the reason for that, and some people would be like, well, if I'm in Pieto, I can't stop the plant. Okay, but there's another power position besides Mez, and I'm covering it in a Power Spots Part 2 guide, but it's actually this half wall position. This spot is extremely strong, and you want that wall reinforced so you can play here, right? You don't want to have to worry about, like, if this wall was soft, you wouldn't be able to. They could just wall bang you through Ivy. So you want that wall so you can actually play up against this, pump out, whatever. This is a very, very strong position. If you want to double reinforce this, so if I'm talking like the pro level, we actually do double reinforce this wall. And the reason is because once you lose blue stairs, you then can't help your Mez player. You are now cut off, right? I'd have to back up here and I lose my angles to library. I could see main stairs. I can still help with main stairs, but I wouldn't be able to help with library. So in the pros, we actually do double reinforce this off most of the time. But again, for ranked purposes, I would recommend like just keep it open with head holes. Once you lose blue stairs control, go ahead and reinforce it. You just need to be careful there's no one outside K9. But yeah, if you want to play safer, double reinforce it. Last part of the setup is over here on the mezzanine side, and this is that library setup that I was talking about. Again, check out the power spots guide. But the most important wall, reinforce this mez wall. You want to rotate here. If you have someone with impacts, great. Impact here, impact here. This gives you some movement. And again, I explained this further in the actual guide, but allowing movement here so you can go in. You can shoot Habana pellets, aces, whatever off your wall if they're trying to open it. You can get different angles to contest the library jump in, because look, you're safe from library double. You can sit right here. As soon as they jump in, they're dead. It allows you another way out. Another reason you reinforce this wall right here is there's 2 main reasons. One, if you want to leave this way, you don't have to worry about getting wall banged from K9. Right? They can't wall bang you here, so you can leave pretty safely. The other reason is there is a nasty rappel outside this library single window where you can look over this little bookcase, and they can get angles through the soft wall onto the double door, so you absolutely don't want that. So this wall is pretty important to reinforce. And then this is an optional wall. But you're gonna have a top blue player again. If you have like 2-3 people, you're gonna have a top blue player because this is a playable position and setting up the crossfires. And this wall is just nice to have. So again, library single wall window can't just wall bang through and hold you, because if no one's getting on your cat windows, you could just sit right here. And as they push your library guy out, I mean, look how nice and safe this guy is. He's got someone in office holding his main stairs. He's got a top blue player holding his push. So if like shields or something are just running through, boom, they're dead on the side. This is so nice and safe here. So this is optimally what we're trying to set up. Again, Chalet is a very, very heavy crossfire map. And let's talk about that. Let's go into the top down right now. All right. Now, again, before we get into positions, I do really want to highlight the crossfire that's happening, because, again, most teams at this level in ranked are just kind of pushing library side. People really haven't figured out how to do the sun takes yet, which I think are overall stronger. And my chat likes to meme on me all the time because I talk about sun takes all the time. But anyway, for this video, most people in ranked, again, they're pushing library. So here's that crossfire I'm talking about. You got that power spot. You're playing top mez. Right, so this guy is your bait. This guy just needs to stay alive and know how to play the spot and master it. Then you have your top blue player who has this angle through library, and then you have your top office player who, again, we have those head holes in the office wall, and he's going to be holding the main stair run up. So this is the main crossfire that I want to talk about, because, again, there's really no way to get this guy out of here besides maybe a Deimos or a Buck from below, because, again, we're able to go in and out, shoot things off of if they bring in Habana or Ace, and it's also not that big of a deal. We should be able to escape. So if we're playing a zombie in a position, again, you could just kind of tuck yourself in here on the hard floor. If they're bringing a Deimos or a Buck and you're safe, they're going to feel stalled. They're going to have to jump into the library windows, and you can play trades. So again, a really good crossfire. It's on par with like the border one, the CCTV, the armory position that I've kind of talked about. So make sure we're setting that up if you have a few friends, because again, it's really, really powerful. But let's start talking about positions. So position 1, is going to be your Mez player, just because, again, it's already covered. If you want to go more in depth in detail, this is like the 4th time I brought this up, but watch the power spot guide. It's really, really important. But in this position, the most powerful operator by far is Azami in position 1 here, because you're allowed to, or you can cut off a ton of different angles, because like I was saying, it's your job is kind of just to stay alive in this spot, just top Mez, but obviously it could be pretty difficult. There's a lot of cutoff angles. You have to worry about that Ivy window and someone holding an angle on you from there, and you also have to worry about the K9 double window and someone holding an angle from there. So Azami allows you to kind of cut off some angles and gives you a little bit more of wiggle room. So overall, Azami, I do, again, it's definitely the best in slot operator here. Second for me would be almost really anybody with the shield, but for this purpose, now that WHYYY did get buffed, I do think WHYYY is a really good operator here, because you do have the shotgun, so you can kind of do the setup by yourself. Because with the zombie, you really just need those impacts. Just give yourself those rotate holes in between Mez. But with WHYYY, you can make more if need be, and you also have magnets, so you can keep stuff like the flashbangs, nades, Capitao fires, whatever can keep you alive a little bit longer in this spot, and something that I do recommend. And then third, because I don't think I covered it in that power spot guide, I'm actually going to say Oryx, and a big reason why even like the pros like using Oryx in a spot like this is because those windows and those cutoff windows are really, really powerful, but Oryx allows you to dash through and past those angles, because it is a pretty quick it is a pretty quick angle in general. If they're trying to kill you, running away, and they won't expect an Oryx dash. So Oryx could be a potential option, but I think Azami and WHYYY are pretty much for sure the top 2. If you have a Mira could also play in this spot, because you can. The most powerful Miras on this map, again, that anti-soul Mira, and then putting one top Mez facing a library is the other really strong one. A lot of people will put it in office and ranked, but it's Mez that Mira is so strong to stop that library take. So honorable mention for Mira there. Position number 2, that's your top blue stairs player. And in this spot, this is kind of where I really like Smoke, and this is another power spot. There's a ton of power spots on this map, but this is another power spot. And what Smoke allows you to do is put barbed wire for your lower blue. That's probably one of the most important things, is you at least have some type of trap or something at your bottom blue. So obviously Smoke barbed wire, stack it up at your bottom blue, so you could play at the top blue position and be ready to help your Mez player, or for shields jumping in library and things like that. And then from here, you can, if they start hitting your barbed wire down below, you can at least time waste and just start dumping your smokes for time waste before you guys decide to either leave or stay. So Smoke allows you to have that option. Clash also allows you to have that option, and it's pretty broken, not gonna lie, if you get really good at Clash. But Clash, barbed wire as well, so same thing. And then you can even just walk down the stairs and go check it, put your shield down on the plat and just take gunfights, put your shield down up top, take gunfights. Smoke and Clash, by far the best 2 options here. And then a third option, I'm just going to honorable mention even a Rooney DMR. I'm probably going to throw that in a bunch of spots, but you get barbed wire, you get some traps. You can support your player on that Mez position and give himself some Rooney gates on his library windows. And then you have the Rooney DMR to absolutely win every single gunfight. So we'll go for those 2, but there's a ton more. Just again, you want to make sure you pretty much have barbed wire, a fender trap, something on your bottom blue. You don't want anyone just walking up on you for free. So anyway, position number 3 is going to be that box position. And in here is another spot that I do really like WHYYY. And that is because you want to be able to stack magnets for the big window. Like, let's say you're bringing castle and you're putting that castle on the closet door, then you're going to want this to be the WHYYY position, because WHYYY can just stack magnets on the big window. They can't open up the castle for the closet spot or for that cave spot, whatever that's called, ranked. They can't open that second castle, so WHYYY is good here. And you bring procs, and you put the procs alarm outside the door to give you an early warning. And then you also have the pump now as WHYYY, so I mean, that's fantastic. They want to get up close and personal K9 door, you just swing them with the pump, that thing will kill them. And then yeah, so WHYYY is really good here. Echo is another good one that we'll use at the pro level. And this is just because you now have vision, you can drive around, you can keep one around the lobby, so you can keep one around lobby spot. So if someone is walking up top blue, maybe you have eyes on them, you have a nice hidden one down there, and you can call out to your player playing on top blue, like, hey, they're going to be walking up blue. Or you can, again, you peek lobby, like, hey, they're going to be going lobby. And now you just peek those head holes and you get a free kill of them walking up the main stairs. You can also check outside the canine door. Echo is also really good here because if they do a sun take, you're now Echo and you can stop those kinds of plants. So Echo and WHYYY are definitely up there on the list. You can go something even like Fenrir too. So you can bring traps for your outside canine door. And kind of sprinkled around. I will say honorable mention because I do want to make sure I cover this. If you do want to double reinforce those office walls, this could also just be a great spot for the Cade or the Tube. Either one. If someone else is Cade, then you go Tube. If you want to play the Master Bunker in the wall denial and you don't want to open up the office wall for those angles, then this is the spot to, again, bring Cade, bring Tube, and just play the office bunker more like that. So for your fourth position, that is going to be the guy on the master side. And that is somebody like a Rooney, where you can put the gates on the soul windows, give yourself a little bit of tell. You can put barbed wire on your sun stairs. That's basically the setup that I would do. Maybe even on the bathroom window for your other barbed wire, just to kind of give yourself a nice little box right there. So you have barb if they walk up soul, you have gates if they're going to go sun windows, and then bathrooms covered. So like again, everything that you're responsible for is covered. And then you have the Rooney DMR. So if they go for the office wall late, you have one of the best guns to just look through that split wall in sight and kill everybody trying to go for a plant. So a Rooney is, again, probably the best in slot operator here. But you could also go something like mute and help out the team. If you want to bring a little bit of wall denial, because you can jam up K9 doors. If someone's bringing castle, you could castle and put one on top of the tub, and that will protect it against Tabana if they castled the bathroom windows. You can put one for the piano windows, again, protecting if someone is running castle for your team and castle's not banned. So mute could also be good. You can also put mutes on your sun wall, or on your master wall rather, if it is a team that likes to do sun. A lot of times they'll bring Grim or Deimos and go underneath. So having a mute jammer to play on so you can actually stay in this position is pretty important. Now this is probably more high rank. If you're playing solo rank and just going for kills of Rooney, but if you're playing more high rank, it probably is something like the mute. And again, you still give yourself a C4. So if you get backed up to the office position, you can still C4 the default plant if they go to plant closet. So mutes, another good option. You could even go something like a castle as well here. It's a flex position. That's why you kind of hear me like you could go. I mean, I'm just trying to think what I'd want to go maybe in like a solo queue kind of situation. But for me, that would be a Rudy. So you could go castle as well, and just castle the big window. Give yourself a little bit more movement. Castle your bathroom windows. Castle your piano windows. And again, just to kind of help out the team, because you are more of the site player. You still got the shotgun. So all these operators, you want to have something to be able to make a ton of your rotate holes in the closet, your master holes, all that. So all of these operators will have that. And then the last position, this is kind of flex, and you can kind of move this piece around. So I'll say two main spots for this guy. So the first one is if you really want to stuff the library side, put this player somewhere like in dining or in like the basement, round bottom blue area. And now this is position 5. Again, it's free roaming. This is someone like a Fenrir. This is someone like a Malusi. Or if you want to get wild on them or something, I mean, I'm just gonna put Vigil here, but like the options are open. You can go Valkyrie in this spot. Valk would be great, actually. Now that I just thought about that. But what you're doing is, again, you're another layer to slowing down the library take. So you don't really want them to just be able to jump into games and just start pressuring your guy on the blue stairs, because again, you want to be able to hold this side. So this is the player that's actually going to deny games early. You don't want the Deimos to just to go underneath the Mez player early. So he's going to contest, he's going to shoot drones, and then you can either do two options. You can fall back onto bottom blue, and then once they start hitting the barbed wire for your blue stair guy, you can go for a flank, or you can actually double up on the blue stairs, and this actually catches a lot of teams, a lot of people off guard. So you could do something like that, but you're just an annoying kind of free roamer here. The other position that I did want to cover is if you're going against a sun team, this is the spot you would flex, and then this spot could be literally on the sun stairs. And then that's something like a Jaeger, that's something like the Aruni, that's something like the WHYYY. Like you want to be able to stack ADSs and just denial in general, because you do not want them to have solar stairs, and you can actually play on it if you guys are stacking like 3 of these operators in your lineup. So consider trying that. Also in ranked, people are not coordinated to actually how to take solar stairs. So if you're just actually holding solar stairs, you will probably be totally fine and win everything. So you probably only need 1 of these, but yeah, this is the free roaming spot you'd want to move around based on, again, what the other team is doing. So I rambled a lot here, but this is the general setup. Look at the first 4 positions. Again, a lot of crossfire is able to happen. If it's a library take, I wouldn't give it up for the most part unless you got a big man advantage. These are power spots that you can hold on to, and really you have nothing like backing up. You don't really have there's no shield in piano. You don't have a lot of strong options when you do back up to win the round. So you could stick it out. And if it's a sun take, you can kind of rotate some people over and kind of fight the take as well. So that's how to play Master. Let's move on to another site. All right, now we're talking bar, the second site, and we're going to start with the site setup. So you want to reinforce this left stock wall to protect yourself against the library window. It's also going to just give you an actual viable spot to play in. A lot of teams or a lot of players sometimes reinforce the right side, but if you get stuck on the left, you really only have this little island to play behind. So I think in general, it's just better to reinforce the left. And then I like to, we'll go to this wall first. Obviously, this is the most important site wall. This is the stock wall. If you lose underneath and they just wall bang you through the soft wall, you would not be able to actually play inside of stock. So yeah, you want to reinforce this wall and keep it safe. The next wall is something, again, I don't think I see this really done in ranked. This is maybe personal preference, but this is, you give yourself a bar wall. So the player that inevitably falls back and like the second guy in sight, obviously we're sitting in stock. Sometimes there's a guy sitting around this, behind the bar spot. And this just gives you, again, somewhere that you don't have to worry about getting wall bang from library window. You can sit here. If you have a C4, you can C4 the default plant right from here. You're nice and safe. So again, just gives you a little bit more of a playable spot. Rotate on this far right side. You're safe from the library, or the actual games window. I keep saying the library window. The games window. You're safe from it. You can't see it. This is kind of like called or referred to as like the cut rotate. Nice movement in between all these 3 positions right here. I like to reinforce this extra bar wall. So if they get Ivy or dining hallway control right here, they can't just wall bang through the wall and get a nice angle into stock. So I do like to reinforce that. Feet holes on this side, so if they are walking down bottom blue and trying to push, remember that guy that's possibly behind bar, well, he can already see them and shred them as they're walking down the hallways. So I think these feet holes are really nice. Also some really nice juicy angles. If a team that likes to push mud, they're not going to be expecting you, right? You could play pretty far back, tucked up, they walk mud thinking they're nice and safe, and then you just get a free kill. So that's how I like to set up downstairs. We'll go upstairs here. I think you should always double reinforce these 2 office walls. If a team wants to do a Solarium overtake, you don't want them to open these walls for free. Like, you want them to have to bring an ace, a Habana, some cans, whatever, in getting different angles on you on the blue stairs. So it's just going to be if you are playing the blue stairs, which again, we'll talk spots soon. If you are playing the blue stairs, you only have to worry about this double door. You don't have to worry about them, pushing through somewhere weirdly over the wall or holding an angle on you from somewhere. The Mez spot is going to look very similar to, surprise, surprise, what we just set up for Master. You set this up for every single site. So again, this is the most important Mez wall. It protects you from the library, gives you an actual spot to play on. This wall, it's going to protect, again, that really nasty window angle that we showed before. It's going to protect against that. If we are roaming on the other side and falling back, we don't want to get wall banged. Also, if we want to move into here and play some different angles, we don't have to worry about getting wall banged from K9 as we're getting mobile in that Mez position. So this protects us. And then this one protects the blue player as the blue player comes up again. And maybe they're just pushing library over. You don't have to worry about getting wall banged. You can also kind of sneak into box if they're not on the windows. And this is a nice juicy spot to kind of play in without getting wall banged from that window. I think that's all the walls. You do have one wall in pocket. And if you didn't like any of my walls in sight that I put, optionally, what you could do is reinforce the snow walls, because I know some of you are creatures and like to live in the basement down here in the garage. So if you want to go ahead and reinforce the garage walls, that is also nice. I mean, it gives you a nice tell if that's something they want to do, because usually teams will open this wall and then they go to open the stock wall. So that gives you a little bit of a warning, at least. If you want to do that, be my guest. Okay, I think that's it for the walls and holes. I think we're actually flying through this, so let's go into the top down. All right, now strategically, bar is a bunker kind of site, and most of your positions are going to be pretty stacked up, because everything is like, you got to protect yourself against library, you got to protect yourself against like your the mud, the lower walk-ups from basement, the games window jump in, lobby walking in. So you got to be pretty bunkered up so you can kind of cover all those angles. However, there are some teams in some spots which you can extend onto the solarium side and kind of waste some time and back up and layer off there. But we'll cover those when we get there. So let's start again with positions. We'll start with the site player, position number 1, which is your stock player. And in here, I really like smoke, because you want to be able to deny a lot of the site rushes here. So if a team wants to just bring shields and jump in, or glass and jump in and go for a plant immediately, you want to be able to stop that plant. So smoke, phenomenal operator here to really delay and make sure that they are not going to, again, rush the site. I also am a big fan of running Warden here for the same and similar reasons. I don't want to really lose to a blitz jumping in my window and rushing me. I want to be able to put the goggles on and just handle them. I also don't want to lose to a glass just jumping in and just going for smoke plants. So Warden, again, these two operators kind of keep you safe and allow you to again, just play pretty safe against site rushes. And then the last operator, I'm just sticking a Rooney in here a lot, guys. I'm a DMR lover, especially in the DMR meta right now. But hear me out. A Rooney, you can put a Rooney gain on the games window, and then I also like it for my doors that I know if I'm being hit in sight if my team leaves me. So I'll put them on both of my bar doors, my bar to lobby and my bar to like Ivy hallway. Again, nice traps that if someone wants to just quickly walk in, I will know. And then I also have barbed wire, and I can stack that for my games window. And I also like to put the other one outside Ivy, outside the one where the Rooney gate is, where I reinforce the wall. Just another tell. I don't want someone walking in lobby, rather, and walking down the Ivy hall and just straight into my bar. I want there to be a little bit of a tell, a little bit of a warning. Barbed wire is nice and safe. So I have barbed wire plus a Rooney gate. Don't got to worry about that lurk. And if my player on blue, it also protects the player on blue stairs a little bit further too, because he has a warning if he comes down the blue stairs that someone might be there. Someone might be walking, and then he can peek off of that. So I do like a Rooney in this spot as well. You can also go some other trap ops, some at the pro level. Some people will even run cap can because they're terrified of a blitz chasing them in a stock, and cap cans on the stock door are pretty scary. Frost in the spot as well, because you don't want them jumping in. Frost will cover the gap. Legion even. I mean, you can go a bunch of different operators. So those are the three that I like, and that is your site player. Now, I will talk real quick about position number 2, which I like to be the second site guy in bar. And like this is like Mira if you have it up, but you probably don't because you're playing ranked in the big 2-5, and we don't have Mira available to us. But Mira's great here. You can put it top mez, so honorable mention here. You can put it top mez facing library, and you can put the other one down here in stock. And then if someone is a Rooney, boom, you're nice and protected. You could even put another Rooney gain on that Mira. Why not? Protect it against yourself against Ash. So Mira, honorable mention. Otherwise, I like another trap op to protect the site. So let's talk about something like Malusi. And you can put the Banshees, one for the bottom Bane walk up. You can kind of put, like, you could pop the hatch in lobby, and then you can put a Malusi down there. So they have to walk through the Malusi. So that's a really good one. You can put one where I was talking about where the Arudi barbed wire is. You can put a Melusi out there, an Ivy Hall, maybe for the site if you want. You can help your boys up top. One for the piano push up long would be really good. So your blue player has, again, some warning. So Melusi's really good here. Trap ops in general are really good here. Valk is also a pretty good option to put some lobby cams. Know when to get aggressive. Maybe you have a cam in the basement, so if they want to take basement, you can go for a retake. But a C4 operator is also fantastic to have here because, again, if they're going for sight, now you have smoke, and then you have that C4 behind the bar that I was talking about earlier that you can C4 the default plant. These are probably, the three that I would like to go. If I wasn't running a trap, I would run something with the C4. Okay, now we're going to go upstairs, talking about some of the very common positions. We have the blue stair player, position number 3. And this is also where Warden can be fantastic. Bring yourself a shield. So if the player in sight is playing smoke, then Warden, best in slot, also right here if you're playing with the team. And I would prefer it here if you're playing with the team too, instead of in sight. If I was playing it in sight, it would be a solo queue kind of thing. So play it here if you're playing in a team. Bring your shield. And now you can play on the blue stairs, and you can cover down the hallway, which is your main and primary job. And then you also maybe have some barbed wire so you can cover the lower gap as well. Mud, lower blue, and you can cover the Ivy Hall downstairs walking into bar. So this spot is really vital to have. Again, the shield allows you to kind of peek up top, and you don't have to worry about getting flashed or anything off your angle, and you can kind of hold on to it full time. If I wasn't Warden here, Clash could be another great operator, very similar to Master, because again, you could do all those things that I just mentioned. You can walk up, you can slow people down the hallway, put your shield down, peek off it, whatever. Clash, very, very similar to Warden in that sense. And if I wasn't Warden or Clash, you could go something like Jaeger or WHYYY, I should say. Let's say WHYYY, actually. I think WHYYY is better than Jaeger as the third spot. And it just allow you to put discs. Again, maybe you don't have a shield. Maybe someone on your team does give you a shield, which would be great. And now you're WHYYY and you can stack discs with the shield. That would be fantastic. Keep your shield up. Don't have to worry about getting flashed because the discs, you can put them somewhere where they won't flash you on blue stairs. And those are the best 3 operators by far. Position 4 is the top Mez position. And we already know that Azami's the best here because we watched the Mint Power Spot guide. And we know Azami is a ball knower and an extraordinaire up here. So Azami first. If this player wasn't Azami, then now we can start stacking. Again, maybe WHYYY is a WHYYY, Rooney, Jaeger combination kind of thing. So this could be a Jaeger. Give yourself some ADSs. Give your player on blue stairs with a shield some ADSs. Jaeger could be really good here. You could also go something with a shield. Lately they've took away a lot of the ACOGs. Normally I'd recommend like a Frost or something because you have a shield and an ACOG. That's what some pro teams do. You could go, and I'll maybe honorable mention, you could go Recruit because you got the TCSG ACOG, and you can bring yourself a shield. So that could be an honorable mention. And I'll just say WHYYY as the other, because if I didn't have a zombie, I'd probably want to go something that would keep me alive a little bit longer up top, not have to worry about getting Capitao fired, naded, flashed, pushed, things like that. So those are the 3 that I would go there. And then position 5, feel free to mix it up. But if I was playing ranked, I just think it's too strong to not play. Teams are not coordinated. They don't know how to clear the spot. You play the dark position. You play in the library corner, and you play something like Jaeger, WHYYY, or Rooney. You play one of these, or did I say Rooney? Yeah, a Rooney. Holy cow. You play someone like these, you stack ADSs for yourself. Honorable mention, you could play Doc to protect yourself against Capitao fires if you really wanted. You don't have an ACOG though, you Doc crutches, so you probably don't want to play that operator anymore. But you could play something like Doc and keep yourself alive in the corner. If not, play Jaeger, WHYYY, or Rooney and waste some time, because again, they have to be kind of coordinated. They have to be able to burn your Jaegers, go for Capitao fires, go for nades. And if you don't think the team is very good at that, then play this spot. You pretty much just burn ADS and then you drop down the hatch when you think they're eventually going to clear you. It's just time waste. I do want to mention that site player could also be one of these ops. I think that was position 2. Position 2 could technically also start here as one of these operators and then fall to site and play the bar position. That is also an optional thing. And then what you could do instead is treat this spot like a flex. And this is what I was saying earlier in the video is you could now extend solar with something a little bit more aggressive. Maybe a Mozzie, so you can Mozzie pest that side to slow them down. Maybe something like Vigil, so they can't drone you and you can actually take gunfights. Maybe something like Scopos, almost said Solus. Maybe something like Scopos, because there's a lot of cutoff windows. You could waste time, shoot drones, and then you can Scopos the heck out of there. So again, kind of re-talking about that. Position 2 could be this dark position, position 5. And then you have an extra player, a flex position. What can you do with that? You can start master side, and what that does is it wastes time if they are a sole team. You're not giving the space for free, and it could really help out the team. So consider doing all those. That's generally how I like to set up my bar. Again, it's a bunker. A lot of tight crossfires as long as you guys are talking to each other and using our microphones. Should be a pretty easy defense. Let's start talking about the third. All right, we're going to start talking about the kitchen site. And now this is a site where if I had to categorize it, I mean, every single time I play ranked, no one runs upstairs, and it's like just me making the top setup, which is like there's like 6 walls up there. There's a lot of rotates. I don't understand why in ranked people play kitchen and they don't hold top. If there's one thing you take from this video, it's at the pro level, kitchen, like the saying is that you win kitchen from top. So if you take anything from this video, remember that. You win kitchen from top. There's nowhere they can plant in sight that you can't stop from top floor. And we'll go over a lot of those angles. So what you need to do is you need to run some type of vision in your lineup. When you run a BP, the most important BP to put in is like in this bush. You put it like just, I don't have a BP on me, but you just slap it on in there. That covers most of the vision that you need. You can run some BPs. You can run some Valcams. You can run some Maestro, whatever it is. You do need some vision, but then you win from top. All right. That's out of the way. Let's talk about the site setup. These are like the very default walls you can put, right? Boom, boom, boom. Protect yourself against office or from lobby. Feet holes, right? This is where you'd like to put like barbed wire or a banshee or something because you can go through the wall here and protect yourself. Then you could sit deep dining. If they don't open the walls, you just sit here. You're safe from West Main, and you can kind of cover just like a site push. So reinforce those 2. I'll go over a little. I mean, I'm sure most of you noticed by now, but there is an angle here too. If you really wanted to get cheeky, you could kind of make an angle over the wall. It's good for 2 things. One, if they ever go for a thermite and you have a C4, you throwing the C4 will kill the guy, because what does a thermite do when he puts a thermite charge on and then he blows it and runs away? So as soon as you hear him, you throw the C4 and you get a free kill. So that's one thing you can do. And then obviously, yeah, if you get on top of these boxes, that is the main stairs, if you didn't know that already. So moving on, we have some rotates in sight. Just give your sight player a little bit of extra movement. You do need to be careful. Big window can kind of look through it as well. So yeah, be careful of that. But I do like, I didn't make this one yet. I do like to have a little bit of extra movement here. So optional. You want head holes for the trophy wall, because you don't want to give trophy for free. You want them to not just be able to jump in. Most of the time what you're doing as the dining player, you have a trap, and it's you know, helping you against any lobby rushes. You also have vert made, so they can help you from above from the lobby rush. And your main job is you kind of just sit here. You keep yourself protected against West Main, and you just sit here and you just hold trophy jump in. You don't let them jump in. So again, that's kind of your main job on that. Trophy, you give yourself a wall in case we are playing on the stairs. We don't want to die to someone walking up West Main. Also protects from the outside windows as well, as we are layering down or going upstairs. We don't want to die to that window, so that protects us against all that. Head holes, because if we do layer down, say they want to go for a dining plant, we can use these as another angle to fight lobby. Right, we can sit back here and use these as well. So just another angle that we can use. Now, let's talk about the top floor setup. And you know what? I think I just realized that I'm on auto. So let me go to 3.2 so I can see things a little bit better for my old eyes. We're going to... This is the top floor setup. A lot of it's going to be very similar. Reinforce this master wall. Reinforce this one to protect yourself from the bathroom window. And guess what? Boom. We got that same spot where we can sit here. We can contest Soul. and we can contest bathroom window, and we have all that movement that we had originally. We are missing a wall here like we did on Master, but you'll see why in a second. It shouldn't be as important though. It should be totally fine. One thing I did forget to mention is I do sometimes, if I have a shotgun, I like to make myself a rotate here. So that way I don't have to, like, say I want to rotate around the bathroom and play a different angle. I don't have to go all the way over here and expose myself to a million different things. I can literally just kind of go in and out. Also, the guy on Soul Repel, he's always going to expect you to peek from like here or here, and then if he's not looking at one point, you could just run across. Now you got a different angle. Now you're Al, right? So something I forgot to mention, I do think it's kind of nice, but it's a personal touch. Closet rotate, same as Master. You don't want them to see it from any of the angles. Talk about this wall. This wall, again, maybe optional, but reason being I like to reinforce this is I don't want to get wall banged from anyone on the big window, right? Because that guy can basically cut off a little bit of office. So if I was to ever swing this door, right, that guy would be able to see me. So I like to reinforce it. Also, if I want to play any vertical holes, so we'll go over this hole in a second, but if I want to get on the vertical holes, that guy would stop me. So maybe it'll make more sense when we talk about that in a second. Office. Now, I set this up differently than Master because I'm thinking to myself, you probably don't want to mez. You could extend mez just like Master. You could if you want to get aggressive and fight. You could still go watch the Master setup. You could do that exact same thing on kitchen. But I am going to talk about something I think is a little easier on kitchen and goes into the theory of like just play top to win. Right? Keep ourselves alive in a bunker up top, help each other up top, and if we hold up top, we win the site. For that theory, we'll reinforce these two walls. Right? So we don't have to worry about them. They have to open the walls. They got to bring some hard breach. And then this wall, again, is the most important one because we are going to be playing this half wall position. And without this reinforcement, we couldn't play here. So we need to protect that. Head holes just to scare them. Go for peeks. I'm sure we've all died to someone swinging this hole at one point or another. Okay, now, these vertical holes, the last thing I didn't talk about. Again, this is a power spot. And from here, look, I can see site rush. If they don't clear me out of half wall position, that's the site door. If they don't clear me out of this half wall position, look, here's the dining table. If they don't clear me out of this position and they maybe want to Maru up the hatch, look, there's the hatch, right? You can contest all plants from office. And I mean all plants from office because, look, if we come over here to this hole, what some teams like to do is they push through and they plant over here on these bushes, which we've had multiple different names. You probably don't have a call out in ranked, but we would call it like George plant or something because bush. And what most pro teams or high-ranked players think how you're going to stop it is you're going to go onto the hatch and you're going to shoot through the soft wall. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that because these holes exist and people don't know that. You could stop all those plants. Look, every single one of those plants can be stopped from this hole. And they're going to be sitting there clueless waiting for you to go onto the hatch. So add this to your arsenal. Again, that is another reason why this is reinforced. So I can do this nice and safe. I don't have to worry about it. And I think that is it for the setup. I guess for verticals, how else do you win this from top floor? This is another hole nice to make. Okay, this is the other one that you need to know. Because this player that's playing on this side, if they're going for a soul take and they ignore him and they're going for sight, well, right there's behind the bomb. Right there is behind the bomb. Right there. Here's all of kitchen. If you wanted to really like destroy the floor, you could. This is all of kitchen. That's what you really need to know. So this spot stops kitchen. All of office stops all of dining. Hold top, you win the site. Let's talk about the top down now. All right, let's talk about our favorite part of these videos. At least it is kind of for me because I get to draw stuff, and Aspirin gets to edit it because he's amazing like that. Cleans it up for you guys. We're gonna talk about position 1, which is the site player. Pretty important. And for here, I like mute. And the reason I like mute is there's a lot of drone holes on this map. Attacking theory on this map. There's a ton of drone holes. So they can have eyes on you and they will know where you are in sight. So I recommend bringing mute. You could put one on your default wall so they can't have one for free, right? The dining wall. And then you're going to want to jam your outside drone holes. You can put one on the bush, and that will get the outside drone hole towards trench. You can put one in that George position that I was talking about earlier. But basically, it's the drone hole for West Main. A good spot for it is actually not in sight, but if you go to the West Main window and you put it at the top of the West Main stairs, because this clogs the drone hole, and it clogs anyone droning up West Main stairs, and it clogs anyone trying to just drone through that window. So that's a really good jammer to know. The other one is in trophy. So again, 3 drone holes into sight. It's kind of terrifying as a sight player. Bring mute, jam those up. You also have a C4, and you also have a shotgun to obviously make all the holes that you probably need in sight, because your team's probably not helping you with them. Consider one thing I didn't mention, which is you could shotgun under the K9 door from in sight, and you can hold against anyone pushing K9 with the pump from underneath. You can also throw a C4 outside that door, so consider that as a possibility. Another thing you could do in sight is C4 up the big or the master hatch onto the big window guy. You could throw it outside the window and blow it up, and that will kill the guy. So having a C4 here is really good. Mute is my favorite option. Cade is another fantastic option. You can't jam the drone holes, but what can you do with it? You can claw that office wall from below, which is going to help them hold on to top floor. So yeah, you could bring Cade in this spot, and maybe that office player brings something like Tube, and then the two of you work together. You put the pre-placed Cade claws again from below, protecting, and then you also can protect your own wall with the Cade. So Cade's another good op here. If I wasn't either of those, I would probably go something to protect myself, like Malusi, because I'm probably terrified in sight. You still get a BP, so you get that really powerful BP that I was talking about in that dining bush. And then I'd put some Malusis for myself in West Main for my own push. I guess that's Ivy or Short or whatever, like the dining hall trophy if they jump in, so I had to tell. So I'd give myself some Banshees to make myself nice and safe. Again, you got the BP, and you can get a little mobile down there. But those are the 3 ops that I would like there. All right, position number 2, that on the master wall spot. For here, I like something like Smoke. And again, reason for that is you can delay a lot of time, and you can smoke the solarium window a lot. And if no one is messing with you on that side of the map, and they eventually are pushing piano, you can rotate over through closet, and you can throw smokes and support your guys in piano. So Smoke is a fantastic operator for this. Second spot, maybe honorable, kind of mentioned already, but it is really powerful, is Maestro. I feel like we don't really talk about a lot of Maestro sites, but Maestro, if you put a bubble tucked in trophy by the windows, like in the corner under the default cam, really powerful. If they ever try to Habana Ace open your wall, you just shoot it off for free. They can't do anything about it. So Maestro is nice for that. And you can also stack some in sight, because this site is really powerful when you have vision, right? Especially if you're mute jamming downstairs, you don't have to worry about Brava drones kind of getting in. So you can bring Maestro for something like this and protect yourself. And you can stack a bunch down there for all the plants, and again, that soul one. So consider Smoke, consider Maestro. Third operator that I like messing around with is still, and I think I covered it in the master, a Rooney DMR. Give yourself the gates for the windows. Give yourself, a gate for the bath, or for big window as well. Protect yourself there. You got the barbed wire. You can even bring a BP because of how good that BP is in sight, and you got the DMR. And if they're not going your way, you just take a lot of fights with a long range gun and get a ton of kills. So those are the 3 that I like for that. The third position is that office half wall spot, and here I'm gonna want something like Warden shotgun, because you need to make all those vertical holes. I doubt anyone on your team's kind of be doing those for you. So Warden shotgun, you don't want to lose to a team that's just going for a half wall dining plant and they just smoke themselves and plant and you can't see the planter. So Warden here I think is the best option, and something that I do love playing in this spot. So Warden shotgun, WHYYY is the second best option if you don't have Warden, because you can protect yourself from those discs or from the flashes and things like that with the discs. And you also have the super shorty if they're pushing you K9. You got prox alarms that you can put outside that door and give you an early warning. So yeah, WHYYY is really good there. You can also go Tube. If your guy in sight is playing Cade, maybe you're a duo, you can go Tube here. So you can delay the wall. He's got a Cade claw from below, and you can If they EMP it, you just tube and then protect the wall. So if the wall doesn't get open, they can't push you out of here. They have to push through. Piano makes it super, super tough, and your win rate goes up just because of that. So those are the 3 in there. Honorable mention Clash. If you were to play Clash, this is a good Clash spot for it because it's already a pretty hard spot to play. You're kind of on an island. Clash allows you to have a little extra movement. You can check outside your canine, take fights. You can check who's outside the office wall and possibly take fights off of it. So honorable mention Clash in that spot. Spot number 4. This is like your piano all the way to like owl position, right? Through bathroom all the way to owl. Azami is very good here. Blocking off the bathroom windows or giving yourself some kibas to play behind in piano. I think Azami is, again, by far the best operator here. Bring yourself some barbed wire, put it at your piano door. You have a little bit of a tell. You can actually kind of hold on to piano for quite a while here. Another good op, even without the ACOG, or even with the removal of the ACOG, Frost is still really good here because you have a shield and you could put it on top of the piano, and then you can also put some frost traps for your piano window jump in, your bathroom window jump in, and those are the 2 most powerful ones for sure. In case you ever get turned and you're not looking in the right direction, the traps can definitely kind of save you a little bit there. And if you want to go something even like a Malusi as well, it's not as fun as maybe the other ones, but Malusi, even honorable mention Clash again, because why not? You have the Clash shield, you can poke out, you can get aggressive, you can hold down piano control. So again, that's what I would like in position 4. Your main job is again protecting your half wall player, you're contesting piano, you're going over to Al if it's a soul take. You can even have some holes by the bathroom window so you can contest anyone walking up West Main. So it's a really important spot. If you don't have castle, just be careful of the big window when you're crossing back and forth. Another reason why Zombie is really, really good. And as a last spot, this is going to be your free roamer. And eventually we'll start talking a little bit about like how to be a roamer. Maybe a lot of you don't even know, what the roamer position entails, because for the most part, it's like this guy's loosey-goosey. He doesn't really have a set spot. He's running around the map. What's he doing? We can cover that eventually. But this is kind of your free roamer. The reason you want it is you don't really want to give library side for absolute free. They're going to have a lot of time to kind of problem solve and figure out how to beat this defense. So you want this guy to kind of be roaming on that library side, maybe bottom, like downstairs in games. An operator that I think is really good for this is also like something like Scopos, because you can actually put your Scopos drone, cam, whatever, in the bathtub. So you can extend on this side, shoot a ton of drones, and when you feel the pressure, just TP out of there for free, waste, a minute, whatever it is, get back into sight, and now you guys are playing a bunker. You're up top, there's 4 of you up top, you hold on to top, you win. So Scopos, I love running a Scopos over here, but you could run something like a Valkyrie as well, and give yourself some vision for library, give yourself some vision for lobby, stuff like that. Valk is also another good free roaming operator. Not even a hot take, but the third really good op is Solus. So again, if you're not Scopos, bring something with vision. Solus allows you to, again, shoot drones library side and then fall back into your top bunker. And then from there, they literally can't plant. It doesn't even matter. Like, you have a Solus above, even if you have some BPs and vision and they clear them, you have a Solus above. As long as you protect him up top, he'll be able to stop every single plant spot. So Solus up here is also fantastic. So that's the best way, I think, to play Kitchen. Again, that's been the theory of Kitchen for a very, very long time on pro level. Hold top, you win. Don't see that being done in ranked. I don't know if it's ever been really explained to a lot of you, but if you have some people to kind of do this strat with, I recommend check it out. It's free. I'm telling you, it's free. All right, let's go to the last bomb site. My least favorite, wine. All right, we're talking about the last bomb site, which is wine cellar, and particularly it's not my favorite bomb site. It's the reason I have it 4th here. I just think the other 3 are more defensible right now in this current meta. A lot of, even ranked, has kind of figured out a little bit how to beat this site just by kind of doing a minimal and taking backside control and things like that. And you can win it. It takes, at the pro level, we talk about how to win it and have the win condition to beat something like that with a retake play and stuff. But for ranked, You know, I don't think it's super feasible, but I am going to talk about, again, what I think is very cookie cutter. You can absolutely still win against most ranked takes if you coordinate and still execute this properly. So again, let's just talk about how to set it up. Let me stop yapping. Reinforce the snowballs, right? This is obvious, okay? We don't want these walls open. Please, right? They're going to try to open them. They're going to bring a mav, whatever. Reinforce those 2 snowballs. You never, ever want to reinforce this wall unless you have Mira. And the reason being is the moment you reinforce this wall, you give them a spot to plant on. I don't care if you're like, oh, well, I'm just playing connector. I'm waiting for them to do that. I don't care. Like, that's just not feasible. Do not reinforce this wall unless you have Mira. Put head holes. A lot of teams, what they'll do is they'll actually put a BP in this cabinet, so it's kind of free. It's far back, right? Rotate. Right, keep yourself a rotating sight. Basic siege 101. Give yourself a rotate. High head holes. Reason for that is if they push down main stairs, there's a really nice juicy angle here. Have a cog. I don't know why I brought the TCSG hollow, but whatever. Bring an ACOG. Whatever. You can sit back here and mow them down as they walk down the main stairs. Good angle that a lot of people don't know. Very default. Again, same as these snow. Reinforce these 2 walls because this is what the attackers want to open. So reinforce them too. They're very important. As soon as they get open, everything, like your movement just kind of stops as a defender. Reinforce. So I'm going to go into some boiler extension theory real fast because people will ask me, when should I extend boiler? If you're losing to that back take, this is one of the responses that you could do as a defender, is you can extend into boiler. And we are reinforcing the dining hatch, and until the dining hatch gets opened, you are nice and free to extend in here, right? Like, you don't have to worry about getting held or cut off. So you can extend in here. Even when it gets open, you can decide, like, I'm going to play my life and I'm going to die here. It doesn't matter. Or someone can retake the hatch. So, like, there's other things you could do. But this is just another piece that you could add to your defense. You could play something like a smoke with someone gives you a shield. You could play something like Clash here. You could play Warden Shield here. Warden Shields, and someone goes ADSs and brings Jaeger for you, right? With the duo, with the trio, you can make this spot really defensible. Break the pipe, whatever. Bring some traps. You can hold down this spot, right? You can waste a ton of time, not give them the backside, and this is what the defenders want, right? They want to be able to walk through here and plant. So contesting this is good, and I would recommend it if you're playing, again, with some friends at a higher level. But if not, just go ahead and reinforce it. Okay, because there's probably a lot of problems with, like, thinking and when to leave and all that. Like, it's just not worth it. Close it. Hopefully we're bringing at least some type of wall denial, mute, cade, whatever. But this is probably the default setup that you'll see. And the last wall that I didn't go over is the connector hatch. That's just obvious. We want to keep the connector hatch shut. We don't want them to be able to drop down connector because this is kind of a power spot. Sometimes attackers will get here. And then, like, look, if you get here as an attacker, GG. Like, this is so good. You kill everybody. Contest blue. That's the setup. I don't even think I really need to run upstairs. Oh, wait. Last one. Stock wall. Here's one that you probably don't see very often. And I'll go over this when we do the top down really specifically. But why I like to reinforce this wall is if it's soft, attackers will get angles onto the main stairs and be able to hold you from walking up. And what I think, especially in ranked, that's a very good power position is at the bottom of these snowmobile stairs. I love to play smoke here with some barbed wire. I don't have to worry about that angle, and I can hear my barb and swing and pump, right? I can treat it like it's bank blue stairs, for example. I can sit here, I can smoke them off, I can pump, I can waste a ton of time. I'm safe from breach. I have the bomb. I like to combine it usually with like a shield op or something here contesting breach. That way they don't feel super safe to just sit outside breach and hold me, right? Like, I can just play my life here. Another really good time waste position. So that's why I like to reinforce that wall. If you're not, you know, go ahead. You don't have to reinforce it. It's one of the more optional walls. But the other ones that you see are typical site setup. And let's see. Is there anything else I didn't cover? One other thing I didn't cover is if you do want to roam on this site, right? That's an extended position, boiler. And as you see, I have another reinforcement in my pocket. Also, you can get rid of that one if you want to, but you know that mez spot that we talk about, for in that power spot for most of these sites, right? You could play it on kitchen, you could play it on master. Guess what? You could even play it on wine, because what do some teams like to do? They like to take the library side, they bring a ram in the front door, they do a ton of vert in lobby. What's one way you can prevent that? You could play mez. If you have a zombie up, reinforce the wall, impact, boom, make impact this too. the exact same mez setup. You could do this in solo with a zombie, and you could hold this down. Absolutely, just hold it down. So yeah, try that out if you want to get a little bit more aggressive, because I feel like a lot of people like to sit in the site on this site, and there are some roam options. You don't want to just be running around with like a chicken with your head cut off, but you absolutely can roam. There's even a nice juicy C4. I implore you guys to go learn if you are roaming with a C4 operator. That I'm sure most people know by now, but I just thought about it, where you can actually C4 outside this window and it'll land in trench. You just kind of do one of these. I implore you again, go find that in a custom game if you really want some free kills. If no one's clearing up here and they're all sitting trench, and you do have that player playing boiler, he's smoking them off or whatever, and he's like, hey, they're pushing my trench. Hit one of these on them, couple free kills. So, all right. We're gonna stop the rambling. Let's go back into positioning. Let's go to the top-down view. All right, looking at the top-down view, we're on Chalet. We're gonna talk about again, cookie cutter positioning. I do want to take a second, like, again, what I'm showing in these strategy videos, you can get a little bit more creative. There's might be different operators that you like to play in some of these spots than the ones that I'm talking about. This is kind of just like a let's get started kind of guide, right? Let's just know some of the basics, and also this is like why some of the pros are running some of these things, why we have some of these angles. So again, right, this isn't like the holy Bible of strategy. If you guys want to get a little bit more aggressive, you know, like here, I'm going to be recommending 4 guys in sight. If you want to get a little bit more aggressive, then, you know, take one of your sight guys out. Go find an extended position and learn how to roam. But all right, regardless, let's talk about position number 1. That is going to be your wine player. Now, it really depends. Like, this could also be your wine/boiler player. And boiler, as I was saying before, right, that's like Warden, Clash, Smoke. Those are the 3 operators I would recommend for extending into boiler. Hopefully you have a teammate to come bring you some ADSs or something like that, some barbed wire, a shield if you need it, whatever, if you're Smoke. Those are the 3 operators that I would extend into boiler with and waste some time, back up, reinforce off if needed, or hold it to die. It really depends on the situation. If you didn't want to play in there and you wanted to double reinforce it off and just play the back wine position, then again, you should probably be playing something that has at least a little bit of wall denial, like a mute, jam up the walls, have a pump. You can play up close and personal. So a mute, Cade, even a bandit, I guess. Could also be a trap operator in this spot as well, to hold down the backside, because again, giving space for free is kind of bad. They're just going to get the walls open. You don't want that. So I would run some type of wall denial on the backside. And we'll keep it that simple for that spot, right? You're kind of just a sight anchor. Breach is going to get open. They're going to go backside. Just kind of learn how to play around in the wine position. There's tons of cool angles. I showed you guys the one standing on the desk to contest main stairs. You also might be moving around a lot and helping the blue player. This is the spot that does go help blue and plays around the 90 elbow spot. So you are mobile. You are a sight player. Spot 2 is that blue player that I was just mentioning, your actual blue player. And I'd like to start this spot like upstairs a little bit, right? Like, don't just sit bottom blue. Like, board your mud door. Maybe shoot a drone in games. Maybe you're top blue, and maybe you have that mez player, right? So you're like, you have that crossfire together. Like, at least help each other a little bit. Here, if you're running Cade, this is where I do like to run. I do also like to run the Cade in this spot. But you normally want something that's really strong for the blue stairs. So this is, you could run something like a zombie. I'm sure you guys have seen by now. But the one way a zombie that you can put when you're running down the blue stairs, a zombie can hold blue stairs almost better than literally anybody, just because of the one ways that are capable in blue. So, and you also have the barbed wire to play off of. So a zombie's really good here. This is another good spot for Smoke or Mute because of the pump, right? You can play up close and personal with the pump on the blue stairs. Smoke even better so because you have the barbed wire. So if you're not playing that boiler extension and no one's playing that main stairs extension that I talked about before, then you could play Smoke here, Mute here, Clash here as well, because again, you just want to hold on to blue. Clash allows you to do just that. You can peek up, fight anybody, back up. You have the shield. You can put it 90. You can contest main breach. All really, really good. Honorable mention even because there's just so many good operators, but Warden, because you have that shield that I liked to talk about. You put it outside the blue door facing breach, and now you're ready for a team to just go for an all-out like Glaz, Smoke, Ying, plant, right? You're just sitting in blue hall, and you use the shield, and you can see where they're running in for, and then you just call everything, and you just stop the plant. So Warden, honorable mention, and that is actually usually what I like to run if I'm running everyone in the actual correct positions, which we'll talk about coming up here in spot number 3, which is that main stair position that I talked about, where I think Smoke is so good, right? You reinforce off that stock wall, which I'm sure a lot of you have now done, and you put double your barbed wire right there on the main stairs. And with Smoke, literally, you're good against site rushes, combined with that Warden in blue with the shield. You can also just contest the main stairs and smoke it off and use a pump. So you got a pump over there with Warden on blue. You got a pump right here on main stairs with Smoke. It's very, very difficult. And both of you you're protected, right? Even if they bring that ram and they do top down, doesn't matter. Like, you are completely protected in this spot. So Smoke is really good. Goyo is also really good here for some of the same similar reasons, like the Goyo fires. Right, you could even put them a little bit farther up on main to kind of fire off. So Goyo could also be really good here. Clash is another good one because you might feel like you're stuck here on main stairs, right? You might feel like they're holding you from outside breach. Well, eventually, Clash, you just waste a ton of time on the main stairs, and then you could just back up to that boat position behind metal, or now you think they're going to need and flash you or fire you out of there, then you just back up to blue for free. Like, Clash allows you to do so much in that spot. So try it out. This is probably a spot a lot of you have not played before, but you won't lose to site rushes, and it's really good late round if a team wants to walk down main. So you can hold it down. And if it's finding useless because they are going for a backside take, well, you just rotate your Smoke over. Rotate Smoke over or Clash over to pillar, right? To the pillar spot, and that's the best in slot position for a Smoke or Clash late round for that take as well, for the normal rank take where you open up the boiler wall and try to go for a plant. So try it out. It doesn't hurt. Spot number 4, it's another site player. It's usually the guy Bandit tricking on the wall. So I do have Bandit for the spot on the snow wall. Also could be Cade. Also could be Tuber out. Maybe someone else is Cade, right? This is, again, it's some type of wall denial because Mira is most likely banned when you guys are playing Chalet. And wall denial is the king of lower. You at least want to make it difficult for them to try to open up the wall. You don't want to give it to them for free, or else this site you just got nowhere to go. You just got to take some pretty bad gunfights as a defense, right? I'm sure we've all been there. So Bandit, Tube, Cade. Your 2 actual site players, you want some type of wall denial on them. And then spot 5. Guess what? Another free roamer. We don't want to give the map for free, and you don't want to just run around either. I like my free roamer. You could be in Mez. I think I talked about that before the top down position. I can't quite remember, but you have a wall. You could also be playing upstairs in Mez. You could waste a ton of time up there. Remember, like, your blue player could come up and play your top blue stairs, so you can have a little bit of a crossfire. Sometimes I like to run around games in bar. And then another really good spot for your free roamer is dining. If you guys watch any pro league, most of the time there is a dining extension, and you could play a trap bop in dining and just try to waste as much time as possible. You can even open up the hatch for this one. This is pretty much a free time waste spot, I find. Very similar to like bank, where you're playing on the red hatch or the flag hatch or the elevator hatches, right? Like, you're just playing right near the hatch, and you're sitting there, and you should have holes to your trophy window jump, and maybe you got some traps. Let's say you're Malusi. Malusi is something I would recommend for the spot, right? You could put Malusi or Banshees in your west main. So if they jump in your west main windows and go to push you, you have Banshees for that. You could have Banshees for your Ivy or your dining hall push. You can have Banshees for your trophy, right? You play off your Banshees, you sit near the hatch, and you just hold on to the control. And why that is important is I think we all know by now, if a team just wants to like make fur in lobby, they can't. If you're in dining, you can open up the dining wall with your Malusi shotgun. If you're an operator with impacts as well, you can open it up. And now they are absolutely contested. You can't buck, you can't sledge, whatever in lobby. They're worried about it. They have to clear you out of there. That is why having a dining player is really important. Also, if they don't mess with you in dining and the hatch is open and they just expect to open up the lower boiler wall and go for a plant, you can stop all of that from the dining hatch. So I do recommend, if you could, like, number one position, play in dining, play a trap operator, play like Malusi. I mean, heck, we've messed around with an alibi in there if you guys want to get freaky, because you still have prismas for the window jump in. You could play Frost up there. You could play Valk up there. Kind of free roam ops. Mira, if Mira is up, you could actually reinforce the one dining wall and put a Mira facing lobby. That is also extremely strong and makes teams freak out. Now, at a high level, if you ever see this player is very easily kind of out of here. Bring like something like a Deimos, and usually they drop hatch immediately, or bring something you normally bring anyway. Bring a Ram, and if you Ram drone the K9 door, that player usually leaves, because that vertical is like right over the hatch, and if they don't leave, you're just going to kill them as they drop. So those are the two main ways like pros would actually clear that spot out. But try it out in ranked, solo queue, whatever, holding on to dining. It could be frustrating if you're not bringing the right type of operator, but again, I recommend bringing a trap operator, knowing your timing of when you should drop, and making everyone aware, because the hatch is open, that hey, we need that's another gap we have to watch now. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up and do it for the Chalet defense guide. I hope, of course, that you enjoyed watching. I love making these. Hopefully we get to some more popular maps, because I know you guys didn't really enjoy the labs and the lair one, because most of you enjoy, banning those maps. So we're going to try to go to some more popular maps. Chalet was this one. We'll see what the next one is. Maybe put it down in the comments down below what you'd like to see next. Consider subscribing so you guys get the notifications, hit the bell, all the YouTube-y things, so you guys know when I'm posting videos, and we'll see you guys in the next one.